Welcome. This is Trinity Gaia Oracle. In this series, we will be taking a journey through each card in the Divine Masculine Healing Oracle deck by Christabel Jessica, and the artwork is by Ceclia G.F. At this time, I would like to invite the divine, all guardians, guides, angels, ancestors, power animals into this space for the collective tuning in to assist in supporting them and receiving the messages that are synchronicities specific for them. Today, we will be taking a deeper look into Caixin. Work on your lack mentality to increase the flow of abundance. A feeling of security is awaiting you. Your relationship with money will be aligned with bountiful receptivity. Caixin is a Chinese folk hero who later became revered as the Taoist god of prosperity and wealth. According to legend, Caixin descends from heaven to bring abundance to the people who worship him. It is tradition on the Lunar New Year to light incense and eat dumplings as an offering to him. On the second day, he ascends to heaven after providing blessings for the coming year. He wears a pink robe with coins around the hem to symbolize spring and feminine yin energy. He has a lotus motif on his chest, signifying fertility, and he holds a golden mushroom to symbolize longevity. Caixin's message: confront your fears concerning money to assist in stepping into a state of abundance. Check in with yourself and ask questions about why you have these concerns. Is it to do with the way you were brought up? What comments come to mind when thinking about money? These can be clues to why. Be grateful that your money has been exchanged for something good in your life. Each time you pay a bill, make it a small ritual. Be present and grounded when you make the payment, and take a moment of gratitude as you send off the amount. If you are paying your rent or mortgage, say, I am grateful to have a safe place to live. If you're paying your electricity bill, say, I am grateful to have this resource in my home so that I can live more comfortably. Over time, this will shift you from feeling that bills keep you from abundance to feeling that they are the abundance. An avenue towards a prosperity mindset starts with knowing where you stand financially. Start a budget spreadsheet and be honest with the income and expenditures. Awareness is powerful. Once you see how the money flows, you will feel in control and know where to apply changes. Executing a lifestyle within your means provides a sense of prosperity because you resonate with the vibration of I am enough. If you have any debts, implement a plan, however long it may take, to reduce them. This shift will bring confidence and excitement for the future. The money put toward debt will snowball into savings and investments down the track. If you have no debt yet still don't feel abundant, consider giving to the community. Giving can be just as essential an abundance component as being in the energy of receptivity. Make space to use money joyfully, If you have no debt yet still don't feel abundant, consider gifting to the community. Giving can be just as essential an abundance component as being in the energy of receptivity. Make space to use money joyfully, enhancing the energy you associate with it. You deserve the money to have fun, too. Gain back control and feel your abundance mentality prosper inside out. Moving into the intuitive reading. Caixin is the epitome, in my opinion, at this point, of the balanced masculine energy. Because he understands the strength within his feminine energy, within his yin energy. The power of being receptive to abundance will attract it. If you're receptive, it will come. And he understands that. So he takes all of that masculine wisdom, all of that acting towards facilitating everything being lined up beautifully, and then he focuses on being receptive to it working in his favor. So he chooses where he gives his focus. to the positive, to anticipation, to it working, to that goal being realized, that dream coming into reality. There is strength within the feminine or the yin energy. And he understands this. And because of that, Kashen, he's like folklore. He's a deity of abundance and prosperity. Kashen knew what he was doing. But he's got money on his robes. You know, he knows what's going on. So what is coming through very clearly is an equation for a metaphor, a system of really kind of relating to how, you know, any one of us can understand and begin to make these changes in our own lives to understand how to really use that yin, that feminine receptive energy to bring in abundance into our life. So this equation, as it's coming to me, I have like this visual of it. So the first equation be like, or the first part of it, it's like A plus B plus C equals X. X being the realization of A. Okay? So A is the purpose, the dream, the goal that you want to realize into existence. And X is, you know, really where you want to end up. They're very integral in relation. You have that dream, and it's the realizing of it at the end of the equation. So this dream could be becoming the CEO of a company, but you start at a certain point and you have this plan of working your way up and, you know, getting the education. You know, you have a plan, you have an idea, and you know life will happen. That's why you try to have some savings set aside or have some adaptability, some flexibility with it. But you do ultimately have that dream of being the CEO. Maybe you want to own your own business. Maybe you want to work from home. Maybe you want to create art or music or do some kind of healing modality from home. Maybe you want to upgrade into a larger home because the kids are all becoming teenagers and they're going to need their own rooms. So you're going to need a larger home. Whatever this dream may be, that is what you place in the first spot. And to make it a number, we'll say it's 1. It's always going to be 1. It's a dream. It's a positive. It's a goal. It's a positive. Now, keep in mind that this space is influenced by what you desire consciously, but it's also going to have some influence in, you're probably thinking about it all the time. To some extent, you're not even aware of how much you're thinking about it. So there's going to be some interaction between your subconscious thoughts and your conscious thoughts about this dream. And yes, thoughts can trigger emotions. So emotions are powerful in manifesting. So dream, let yourself dream about it, because you'll be calling it into your reality by allowing yourself to do so. Now, if you try to deny this, you know, what you resist persists. Eventually, it'll end up being a positive. So that's why I'm just leaving it as a positive. It's a +1 here. 2, or the letter B in the equation of A plus B plus C equals X. B is, what actions have you taken towards facilitating the reality of it in the physical? Have you rented a business space? Have you made payments on student loans? Have you gone to classes? Have you done some research, like the groundwork of looking at what's available in the community around you for homes that are available? What's going on in the market? What's, you know, like the mortgage possibilities available to you? How will it change things? Doing spreadsheets and figuring out where, you know, all the positives and negatives really are. And then Like here, because this is pretty much, if you've acted towards it, it's a +1. It's definitely a +1. Now, some of you, maybe you haven't acted towards it. Maybe you haven't rented. Maybe you haven't chosen to invest in education. You haven't done the research. But you're aware of what you're dreaming, of what you want. And that's +1 for sure. So if you haven't acted, this placement's a 0. It's neutral. It's neutral. And then for C is where the yin power sits. I mean, B is definitely going to be about assertive action, so that's all yang energy, definitely. But yin is present in the C placement in the equation. So A plus B, and then you get to the yin power plus C. With the goal of all of this adding up to the realization of this dream that you started with, this desired goal in A. C can range from a -1 to a +1. So it can also be a 0. And somewhere in there. And only you will really know where it sits. So, for example, something that we could probably all kind of relate to an extent is when you're grocery shopping, for example, most people are in a semi-meditative state. They're so inwardly focused on what's on their list of to-gets and how, I can't forget anything and I have to go here after here. So right now I need to really focus in because I only have so long to do this errand. So they're very focused on their task. This is a really good time to kind of assess your relationship to abundance. Now, I'm going to use the example of being at checkout. However, some people, they do this process while they're moving through the store. So when you get to the checkout and you take just a moment before you start ringing anything up, you've got the register there, maybe somebody's ringing stuff up for you, and you're kind of assessing what to put on the belt, or you're trying to figure out, how do you want to organize things? This is immediately where we go. Immediately, because we're still in that task-oriented mind. Now, if you just take one moment, and you take a slow, deep breath, count to 4, and then slowly exhale, and just let it slowly dissipate. This is centering yourself in this moment. You're becoming a little more aware of yourself, more present with your thoughts. In energetic terms, we would call this grounding, centering. But in science, it's triggering in your mind the presence of I'm not in fight or flight. I am triggering my parasympathetic nervous system to cue in so that I can think more clearly because I'm not in fight or flight. So you take that moment. You're not ringing anything up yet. You're not putting anything on the belt. You just take that moment and you look at your cart. Now, how you relate to what's in your cart right now will tell you where you are on this scale of -1 up through +1. So I'll give the positive as the first example because it's the most natural way for me to think, as I've worked with my mind quite a bit on many different areas, and I'll always have room to improve. I am not going to tell you that I am perfect. I'm not. But I'll tell you that I have strengthened this muscle in some areas in my life, not necessarily all. We're always going to be learning. When you look at your cart, are you going, what do I need that I have here? Okay. And what do I want? I'm getting my next paycheck at X time, and, do I really need all the wants in this cart right now? And could I just have a couple or 3 or, and as I've said, some people do this while they're shopping. But in this example, I'll just have it be here at the checkout. So this is a state of abundance. This is a positive one because you're going, all right, I need X, Y, Z, definitely, and I would like some of, A, B, C, or D, but maybe, I could put off a couple of these till next paycheck, which is next week. I don't really need them right now. I can enjoy A or B, but I don't necessarily need the wants of C and D as well. So you're thinking about it in, I can afford what I need, definitely. I'm not worried about that. And I could possibly afford a couple of these things that I want. But do I really need everything that I want in this cart right now? It's the relationship between need and want that is being highlighted here. But when you get lost in the A, B, C equals X, and then me using the same letters as an example there. So definitely do make a defining line right there. The more negative way of looking at it, negative as in not attracting, not thinking about it from abundance, attracting, right? The more non-attracting, non-receptive way of looking at this or relating to it is immediately, can I afford everything in this cart? Or I don't think I can afford everything here. To immediately go, oh, I grabbed too much. There's no way I can actually cover all this. So what do I do? What do I not get? Now, yes, giving a cashier or you yourself leaving an item there because you just decided you didn't want it now, you're not the only person who's done this. It's a very common thing. They have return buckets at every register. And if you go to a self-checkout, depending on where you shop, they have whole carts filled with items to go back to the shelves. So it's not really something that is abnormal. So to have anxiety over that, it's pretty normal for that to happen. So then it's the other negative aspect to it with the anxiety is the non-attracting, the I'm living in lack mentality, is the acknowledgement immediately that you can't afford, that you don't have. And this can be applied to so many areas. Maybe it's a thing like you are in a store and you have projected to sell 4 items of this particular item and you only carry one brand of this item, and you only have 2 and you have to get through the weekend and you're supposed to sell 4 between now and Monday. The distributor doesn't come until Monday. So are you focusing on what you don't have and you're going down this anxiety of spiral of, well, if I don't have all 4, that means there's 2 customers possibly that will not have what they need when they come here. Maybe they will stop coming here because I don't have this item, and then I'll lose out on profits on all these other items that I'm carrying because they would be buying them while they were here and now they're not. Like that spiral is manifesting that. That is a lack mentality. And it's not just about manifesting. Is it kind to yourself to give your focus there? Because when you're doing that, you're triggering fight or flight within your body. You could tell even from the way I was speaking that there was like this restricted breathing, that it was rapid and shallow breath because I was speaking so fast. And so then you move out of a parasympathetic nervous system state. You move into sympathetic, so fight or flight, and your hormones change. So you have a higher cortisol level in your system. And just for example, and it just kind of spirals from there. Or the positive side of focusing is, I have 2. I'm grateful I have 2 to sell. That's 2 customers that I can satisfy. And then on Monday, I'll talk to the distributor. Now, if it's not a thing where you're selling items on shelves and you're creating something that only you can create, like art, or it's a service, but it requires you to have X material available and you only have enough for 2, but you have demand for 4. This could be a very positive way of looking at it. Would be, so I have high demand and not enough supply. I could maybe increase my cost because I'm in enough demand to do so. I must be doing something right, so great. Or it could be a thing where people call dibs. Like they pay 50% up front to get that 3rd item because you only have 2. So maybe they spend 50% now to call dibs on that 3rd item. And when you produce that, they pay the other 50%. And you have this waiting list. So you have guaranteed income, which is amazing when you're producing. To have that regular income provides stability, abundance. So where you land on that scale, you will be able to know when you get to that moment at checkout, at the grocery store. To take that moment and just kind of like, what am I actually thinking about this? And from there, you're going to be able to know how you would like to change how you think about that. Where you would like to give your focus, where you choose to think X, Y, or Z about it. However you want to alter that to be more of a positive, empowering, the receptive to positive way of thinking. That is done through being mindful. And in the practice of mindfulness, it's really just sitting there, taking that moment and going, what am I thinking? Do I like it or don't I like it? Am I going to upvote it? Because your brain knows. Especially if you say to yourself internally, sometimes, I mean, yeah, if you feel like it, you could do it out loud. Your brain will respond if you're like, yes, I like this. I want this thought consistently to be something that I am having in this situation. Yes. Your brain will react to that. Now, if it's a negative, if you're like, I would kind of like to change this, maybe tweak that, and or straight up, I don't want this thought to happen ever again. I don't want to think about this thought or have this particular aspect to it present anymore. You say that to your brain, to yourself. Like you're talking, like you're giving yourself a pep talk. Pretty much. You're giving yourself a pep talk about it. You're like, no, we're not having this. Because this is not attracting positivity, it's attracting more lack. And I need more abundance, not less. And if you do this, like over like a couple of weeks, relating specifically to this dream, to this concept that you're wanting to bring into reality, every time you find yourself thinking about it, what are you thinking? How are you wording it? How are you feeling about it? And how do you reframe that? You will find over about 2 weeks, you'll be able to feel the change in how your brain thinks about this, the thoughts that you have about this, and how that makes you feel. And from there, it builds. It's just like a muscle. The more that you do this, you will find yourself becoming aware of other areas of your life where you would like to attract more abundance of into your life. And you're like, man, this thought is kind of not allowing me to do that. How do I want to change how I think about this? Because I want more good things, and I would desire to have less of this negative, this less of this lack thereof that I desire, right? And this is done through something called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity, the last time that I encountered this concept, there was something that was kind of new about it. And they may have learned a bit more since then, but through this conscious choice of changing how you want to focus your attention and your thoughts related to certain things, your brain has set neural pathways. So thoughts you have consistently that lead to other thoughts. They're like chains of thoughts that are connected. And the further down the chain you go, depending on where you are on this scale, is more of a lack mentality or more of an abundance mentality. So if you find yourself with a neutral or a lack, and you start working with your thoughts, your awareness of what you're thinking about these things when you do think about them and making choices, your brain is creating a new neural pathway, a new chain of thoughts that are connected. And thoughts trigger emotion. And emotion and thought together are very powerful manifesting because they change your state of being inside of you. You deserve to, we all deserve to be able to give ourselves the gift of being more positive, more at peace, to be living from a state in our nervous system of parasympathetic, not being in fight or flight all the time. And taking a few moments here or there, if it can make that big of a difference, why not, right? Why not? Now, at different times in our life, our brain will go through and it will do something called pruning, I believe, where it just, these neural pathways that we don't use anymore, it just like recycles them pretty much, is my understanding. And it's certain times in our life. And the research on that could have changed. So if you're curious about that, definitely feel free to do some deep diving into the research. And if you feel like sharing, definitely leave a comment below. And if I can, I'll take a moment here or there and I'll check it out and let you know that I read it or whatnot. Or, it's good information for other people that are watching to be able to go. So that's what is the current information on that. That's interesting. Knowledge is power. This is not just about like energy and esoteric, abstract concepts. It's very grounded in the physical. There's a lot of research studies, meaning it's replicable. X plus Y resulted in Z. X plus Y, yet again, resulted in Z. It's consistent. So you can replicate it. You can repeat it. It can happen again and again and again. It's predictable in that. At the end of this, the goal is that the total will be 3. And it's not lost on me that 3 is Trinity. Where, you have like the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, you have Maiden, Mother, Crone. It's like these metaphors that we have in human culture throughout time. To some extent, we could probably find so many other examples of this. But the concept is the thought, the action, and the receptivity to it. The thought, the action, the receptivity, equaling the realization of. That is why Kashen is very balanced to me. This is a divine masculine who is in union within himself. That he is very abundant because he respects the power of the feminine receptive energy within him. Through this very grounded metaphor of money that we can all relate to, and purchasing and exchanging and selling and receiving, and we can all relate to that. And really, money is a symbol. It's, you have a bill or you have a coin, you have a comma, you have so many decimal points, whatever you see in your balance. Money itself is just a symbol of time and energy that's being exchanged. It in of itself is not evil. It can be used for evil by people that mean to you to do evil things. Yes, it can do harm, it can do bad, but it could do great good in the hands of someone who is making decisions that are good for not just them, but for those around them. So money in and of itself is not bad. It's the energy of currency, the concept of greed that is bad. It's not money itself. If you guys would like me to get something a little more concrete, like do a table or something for this equation, I can see if they can help me put this into more of a visual format for you guys. But right now, I appear to be losing my voice. So the divine within me honors the divine within you. Namaste.